Welcome to AGD 2022, the premier meeting for general dentistry. Good afternoon, I'm Allison Godlove. We are live at AGD 2022, the premier meeting for general dentistry. We're at the Rose and Shingle Creek Resort in Orlando, Florida, and I'm right outside the keynote address on having a shark mindset. Behind these doors is keynote speaker Walter Bond. Mr. Bond is a former NBA player and nationally recognized motivational speaker, author, and business coach. People walk out of Walter's talks changed, motivated, and inspired. His principles are simple but powerful. His delivery is smooth and he combines humor, tough love, and experience in a way that changes people. Let's listen in on what he's sharing with attendees.
So the only way I made it to the NBA was through mastery of fundamentals. I'm gonna say something right now and I wanna mess your head up because some of you guys are dentists and that's a big mistake. Stop looking at yourself as a dentist. You should look at yourself as a business person. As Jay-Z would say, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. See, if you change your mindset right now and get out the dental business and get into the people business, you'll make more money. So what I want to do today is talk about your mindset. What I want to do today is talk about you mastering fundamentals. What I want to do today is to make sure that you understand what you need to do for you to get to your next level, and that's through mastery of the fundamentals of business. The first thing we got to talk about is your mindset. I went fishing one day, and I caught this fish. And I'm a Chicago guy. Anybody here from Chicago? When I go fishing, I'm really simple. When I catch a fish, I ask the captain, can I eat it or not? My captain talks too much. So sometimes I'm afraid to ask questions. When you speak for a living and go fishing, the last thing you want to do is talk. I go fishing to relax. I go fishing to think. But I'm always asking questions. Asking the right questions got me to the NBA. So I asked my captain a question when I caught this little weak, ugly fish, and I asked him a simple question, what kind of fish is this? He says, Walter, that's a sucker fish. Okay. Can we eat it or not? He says, no, but watch this. He takes the sucker fish and sticks it on top of the boat. And this sucker fish had a suction on the top of his head, and it defied gravity. I kept fishing, and I kept looking. I kept fishing, and I was afraid to ask another question because my captain talks too much. And eventually, I said, man, how does that little weak fish make it in the ocean, and shouldn't we get it back in the water? He was so excited. He was like, Walter, I'm glad you asked. That's a sucker fish, also known as a remora. It's called a sucker fish because what it does is waiting for a shark to come by. And this little weak fish survives by connecting to the shark. It's a symbiotic relationship. They add value to each other. And he went on to explain, no matter how big a shark gets, it's vulnerable to parasites. If a parasite gets in the gills, if a parasite gets into the lungs, it can weaken or kill a shark, and the suckerfish has one job to do. In exchange for free meals in the ocean, in exchange for free rides in the ocean, all it does is keep the shark clean and eat the parasites. So to answer your question, a suckerfish is flailing in the ocean, waiting for a shark to come by. I dropped my fishing pole. My bottom lip started to twitch. My whole face started to spasm up. And that's when I realized that's how I made it to the NBA. A suckerfish is flailing in the ocean, waiting for a shark to come by. That's how I became a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. A suckerfish is flailing in the ocean, waiting for a shark to come by. That's how I become a best-selling author. I was a suckerfish, flailing in the ocean, waiting for my shark to come by. Really think about it. If you think about professional sports, have you ever heard about a great player who was not connected to a great coach? I mean, Bill Belichick drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round. He was a 6th-round pick. You guys see the combine photos? Tom Brady looked goofy running a 40-yard dash. Nobody else wanted him. And Bill Belichick said, give him to me. You see someone flawed, but I see the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, even Michael Jordan, when he was young, they said he was selfish, self-centered, and the veteran said he will never win a championship. You know what Phil Jackson said? Give him to me. Give him to me. Remember in high school? And the teachers would tell us, if you don't get your act together, you're going to be somewhere flipping burgers. You guys remember that? I flunked out my first high school. But my dad was a high school principal. My mother was a kindergarten teacher. They had a parent-teacher conference at the kitchen table. Isn't it amazing when your parents are teachers? They can have a parent-teacher conference at the kitchen table about you. And my father was a high school principal that worked in the hood. And he sat my mama down. He said, give him to me. Give him to me. I don't need more out of my son. My son needs more out of me. Before I talk about my book, I just want to ask you a question. I know you're a dentist, and I know you know how to look at x-rays and do lateral bicuspid extractions. But are you good with people? Are you in the people business? In fact, raise your hand if you ever had an idiot for a boss. Raise your hand. If you ever had an idiot for a boss, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Isn't it painful when your boss is an idiot, you hate going to work, you look at the clock and say, oh my God, I gotta go to work, and you're in the shower like this. Oh God, can I just make it another day? When your boss is an idiot, it's painful, am I right or wrong? Raise your hand if you're someone's boss right now. Raise your hand if you're a boss. You know what? There's a good chance that you're someone's idiot right now. Get out the dental business and get into the business of people. I mean, you have trouble keeping dental hygienists? You know why? You don't understand people. Your schedule's not full all day. You know why? You don't understand people. Who cares that you know how to fill a cavity? You got to get out the dental business and get into the business of people, because the truth is, if the dentist across the street or around the corner is better than people than you, guess who's going to win? Your competition right across the street. So what I want to do right now, I want to teach you something powerful, because we wrote a book called Swim after that fishing experience. I went home and I grabbed my wife after I went fishing. She says, honey, how was fishing today? I said, it was unbelievable. She goes, where's the fish? I didn't catch any fish, but I have an idea. I think we can teach people how to manage better. I think we can teach people how to become coaches. I think we can teach people the shark mindset. If you really think about it, if you go to the beach, there's only one fish you worry about in the water. Am I right or wrong? You're looking for it. Your lifeguard's looking for it. Everyone at the beach is looking for a shark. Why? Because a shark is a champion. The shark is a mindset. Let me tell you something. I spoke in front of 3,000 realtors, and the guy backstage heard me speak about the shark, the suckerfish, and the parasite. The shark, the suckerfish, and the parasite. There's three kind of people on this earth: sharks, suckerfish, and parasites. If you want to be great with people, you better learn how to manage sharks, suckerfish, and parasites. In front of 3,000 realtors, I did my deal right after that fishing strip and got a standing ovation. And I went backstage. And there's a guy named Mark Victor Hansen. You guys heard of Mark Victor Hansen? Raise your hand if you've heard of Mark Victor Hansen. Okay, some of y'all need to get hooked on phonics because you need to read more. Mark Victor Hansen is a co-author of Chicken Soup for Your Soul. Raise your hand if you know who Mark Victor Hansen is. Thank you. I speak in front of 3,000 realtors. I go backstage and it's Mark Victor Hansen. He goes, oh my God, Walter, you're so talented. I can listen to you all day, but you got to write this book about the shark, the suckerfish, and the parasite. And being a former athlete who understands coaching, being a former athlete who is coachable, being a former athlete who completely understands it is impossible for me to reach my potential without a coach, I asked Mark Victor Hansen a simple question. If you think I need to write the book about the shark, the suckerfish, and the parasite, will you mentor me? He goes, absolutely. And I said, Mark, you just met a 6'5", 280-pound black suckerfish.
Thanks for watching AGD Facebook Live. We'll be back at about 5:45 where you can see all the fun and excitement from the President's reception.